Every single space movie you've ever watched has lied to you. Those epic explosions in Star Wars, the roaring engines of spaceships in Star Trek, the dramatic whoosh of asteroids flying past, complete fiction. The brutal truth is that space is absolutely horrifyingly silent. But here's what will blow your mind. And this kept me awake for 3 nights straight after I discovered it. Even though space is silent, astronauts in orbit around Earth are constantly surrounded by terrifying sounds that most people have never heard. Sounds so alien, so otherworldly, that NASA initially classified some of these recordings because they were afraid the public would think we'd made contact with extraterrestrial intelligence. And wait until you hear what Jupiter sounds like. I'm going to play you actual NASA recordings that will make your skin crawl. Because while space itself might be silent, the cosmos is actually screaming. We just needed to learn how to listen. By the end of this video, you'll never think about the silence of space the same way again. Let's start with the fundamental truth that shatters every sci-fi fantasy you've ever had. Sound cannot exist in space. But this isn't just some boring physics fact. It's a reality that would drive you insane if you experienced it firsthand. Sound is nothing more than vibrations traveling through matter. Air molecules bumping into each other in a chain reaction that eventually reaches your eardrums. On Earth, sound waves travel through our atmosphere at about 767 miles per hour, creating every noise from a whisper to a thunderclap. But space is a vacuum containing less than 1 atom per cubic centimeter. There's literally nothing there for sound waves to travel through. Think about what this really means. If you could somehow survive in the vacuum of space without a spacesuit, you could scream at the top of your lungs and hear absolutely nothing. An entire star could explode right next to you. An event so violent it releases more energy in seconds than our sun will produce in its entire 10 billion year lifetime. And you wouldn't hear so much as a whisper. This silence isn't just absence of sound. It's the complete absence of one of our primary senses. Imagine losing your hearing instantly and permanently. But instead of going deaf, the very concept of sound simply stops existing around you. That's what space offers. Not deafness, but a reality where sound itself becomes meaningless. The psychological impact of this silence would be devastating. Humans are constantly surrounded by ambient noise, the hum of air conditioning, distant traffic, wind through trees, even our own heartbeat and breathing. These sounds provide unconscious comfort and spatial awareness. In space's absolute silence, astronauts report feeling completely disconnected from reality, as if they've entered a world where one of the fundamental forces of existence has simply been switched off. But here's where things get fascinating and terrifying at the same time. While space itself is silent, astronauts are far from living in a world without sound. Inside their spacecraft and spacesuits, they're surrounded by a symphony of mechanical noises that would make anyone claustrophobic. The International Space Station is a cacophony of life support systems working around the clock. Fans constantly circulate air to prevent carbon dioxide pockets from forming and suffocating the crew. Pumps move water through cooling systems. Computer servers hum continuously. The station creaks and groans as it expands and contracts while moving from sunlight to shadow every 90 minutes, experiencing temperature swings of hundreds of degrees. Astronauts describe the ISS as sounding like being inside a giant mechanical beast that's constantly digesting something. The noise level is so intense that crew members often need to wear earplugs to sleep, despite being in the silence of space. These aren't gentle, comforting mechanical sounds. They're industrial-level noise that reminds you every second that you're completely dependent on these machines for survival. During spacewalks, the soundscape becomes even more surreal. Astronauts can hear their own breathing amplified in their helmets, their heartbeat pounding in their ears, and the mechanical sounds of their suits' life support systems. They can hear their tools clanking against metal surfaces through vibrations conducted through solid materials. But they can't hear their fellow astronauts speaking just a few feet away unless they use radio communication. The most unsettling sound astronauts report is the complete absence of environmental audio cues. On Earth, we unconsciously use sound to understand our surroundings. Footsteps tell us about surface materials, echoes inform us about space dimensions, ambient noise gives us a sense of place, In space, all of these natural navigation aids disappear, creating a disorienting sensory experience that some astronauts compare to being trapped in a nightmare. Now here's where the story takes an incredible turn. While space is silent in terms of traditional sound waves, the universe is actually full of electromagnetic radiation that can be converted into audio frequencies. NASA has been recording these sounds for decades, and some of them are absolutely terrifying. Planets generate electromagnetic fields that interact with charged particles from the solar wind, creating what scientists call magnetospheric sounds. When these electromagnetic waves are converted to audio frequencies that human ears can detect, they create sounds that seem like they're straight out of a horror movie. Jupiter sounds like a cosmic whale song mixed with the screaming of tortured metal. The massive planet's magnetic field, 20,000 times stronger than Earth's, creates electromagnetic phenomena that produce low-frequency rumbles, electronic screeches, and haunting melodic tones that rise and fall like some alien communication system. Saturn's rings create sounds that NASA scientists describe as ethereal, like wind chimes made of crystal playing in a cosmic breeze. The electromagnetic interactions between Saturn's magnetic field and its ring particles generate audio frequencies that sound almost musical, but with an otherworldly quality that makes it clear this isn't from Earth. Earth itself generates electromagnetic sounds that most people have never heard. Our planet's magnetic field, as it interacts with solar wind, creates what scientists call chorus, electromagnetic waves that, when converted to audio, sound like birds chirping at dawn. But these aren't gentle morning songs. They're evidence of our planet being constantly bombarded by deadly solar radiation that would kill us all if not for our magnetic shield. The most chilling sounds come from solar storms. When massive coronal mass ejections from the sun hit Earth's magnetic field, they create electromagnetic disturbances that sound like the screaming of demons mixed with electronic static. These sounds represent events so powerful they can knock out satellites, disrupt global communications, and cause power grids to fail across entire continents. Radio astronomy has revealed that the universe is constantly chattering in frequencies we're only beginning to understand. Neutron stars, collapsed stars so dense that a teaspoon would weigh as much as Mount Everest, emit radio pulses so precise they were initially mistaken for alien communications. Pulsars, spinning neutron stars, send out radio beams like cosmic lighthouses. When converted to audio, they create rhythmic beeping sounds that are more accurate than the most precise atomic clocks on Earth. These sounds represent objects so extreme that matter itself behaves in ways that seem to violate everything we understand about physics. Black holes, regions where gravity is so strong that not even light can escape, generate radio emissions as they tear apart and devour surrounding matter. The electromagnetic radiation from materials spiraling into a black hole creates sounds that scientists describe as cosmic screams, the last cries of matter before it disappears forever beyond the event horizon. Quasars, the most powerful objects in the universe, generate radio waves so intense they can be detected from billions of light years away. When converted to audio, they sound like cosmic machinery operating on a scale that dwarfs anything human imagination could conceive. These are sounds generated by supermassive black holes consuming entire solar systems worth of material. The silence of space creates unique challenges for space exploration that require ingenious solutions. Every conversation between astronauts in space, every command sent from mission control, every piece of data transmitted from distant spacecraft, must travel through the vacuum using electromagnetic radiation rather than sound waves. Radio communication in space operates on the same principle as your car radio, but with mind-boggling precision and power requirements. When NASA communicates with the Voyager spacecraft, now over 14 billion miles from Earth, the radio signal takes over 21 hours to reach its destination. The spacecraft's transmitter uses less power than a refrigerator light bulb. Yet NASA can still receive its signals using massive radio dishes on Earth. The Deep Space Network, NASA's system of giant radio telescopes, can detect signals so weak that the total amount of energy ever received from all distant spacecraft combined wouldn't be enough to power a single LED light for a second. This represents technology so sensitive, It could detect the electromagnetic equivalent of a whisper from across the galaxy. Space agencies have developed protocols for the complete silence of space that seem like science fiction. Laser communication systems can transmit data through the vacuum using focused light beams. These systems can send information at rates millions of times faster than traditional radio, but they require pointing accuracy equivalent to hitting a dime from 200 miles away. The psychological impact of space's silence goes far beyond what most people imagine. Sound isn't just about communication, it's fundamentally linked to how humans experience reality and maintain sanity. On Earth, our brains are constantly processing ambient sound to maintain spatial awareness. The acoustic properties of a room tell us about its size and contents. Echo and reverberation provide subconscious information about our environment. In space's silence, this entire sensory input system simply vanishes. Astronauts report that the absence of environmental sound creates a form of sensory deprivation that can trigger anxiety and disorientation. Without acoustic cues, depth perception becomes unreliable. The brain, deprived of expected sensory input, sometimes creates phantom sounds, auditory hallucinations that fill the unnatural silence. Long-term exposure to space's silence, combined with the constant mechanical noise of life support systems, creates a unique form of psychological stress. The contrast between artificial mechanical sounds and the complete absence of natural environmental audio can trigger a condition that psychologists call acoustic dysphoria, a profound discomfort with the soundscape of one's environment. Some astronauts develop what mission specialists call Earth sound hunger, an intense craving for natural sounds like wind, rain, birds, or ocean waves. NASA has experimented with playing recorded Earth sounds to help astronauts maintain psychological stability during long missions. As we prepare for permanent space settlements and long-duration missions to Mars, the challenge of sound becomes even more critical. Future spacecraft and space habitats will need to be designed with acoustic environments that support human psychological health. Engineers are developing artificial soundscapes for spacecraft, carefully designed audio environments that provide the acoustic cues humans need for spatial orientation and psychological comfort. These systems would generate subtle background sounds that mimic Earth's natural acoustic environment without interfering with communication or equipment operation. Advanced spacesuit technology might include bone conduction communication systems that allow astronauts to hear each other through vibrations transmitted through solid materials. These systems would create a form of sound transmission that works even in vacuum, using the astronaut's own body as the medium for sound waves. Mars colonies will face unique acoustic challenges. The thin Martian atmosphere can transmit sound, but at such low efficiency that conversations would be muffled and distorted. Future Mars settlers will live in a world where outdoor sound barely exists, creating psychological challenges we're only beginning to understand. Understanding the silence of space fundamentally changes how we perceive our place in the universe. Earth isn't just our home, it's a rare acoustic oasis in a cosmos where sound, as we understand it, simply doesn't exist. Every sound you hear right now, the hum of electronics, distant traffic, your own breathing, represents something extraordinary in the context of the universe. You're experiencing a physical phenomenon that exists in only the tiniest fraction of cosmic space, wherever matter exists in sufficient density to carry vibrations. The fact that we can convert electromagnetic radiation into artificial sounds from other planets reveals something profound about human ingenuity. We've found ways to make the silent universe speak to us, to translate the electromagnetic language of the cosmos into something our Earth-evolved senses can comprehend. When you listen to NASA's recordings of Jupiter's sounds or Saturn's songs, you're not really hearing those planets. You're experiencing human technology's ability to translate alien phenomena into familiar sensory experiences. It's a reminder that everything we know about the universe comes through the filter of human perception and technology. So what would you actually hear in the vacuum of space? Nothing and everything. You'd experience a silence so complete it would redefine your understanding of reality itself. But you'd also discover that the universe is full of information, communication, and activity. It's just speaking in languages we had to learn to understand. The next time you watch a sci-fi movie with explosions echoing through space, remember that the real universe is both more alien and more wonderful than Hollywood imagines. Space's silence isn't empty. It's full of possibilities waiting to be discovered by anyone curious enough to listen in new ways. The cosmos may be silent, but it's never been more ready to tell us its secrets. We just had to learn that sometimes the most profound communications happen in frequencies we never knew existed. In a silence more meaningful than any sound we could imagine. Are you ready to listen to what the universe is really trying to tell us?